Hey guys, this is Adam Beto, otherwise known as Based Bread in most of my online sources. I've been trying to get this deck tech out to Andrew for quite some time now. Had some issues getting the recording set up and things actually saving, but here we go again today with attempt number 3. So this is a Krark Silas deck tech. This is my brew of the list. It is a mid-range specific list, and I'm just going to dive right into it. So why play Krark Silas? Krark Silas is a Grixis pairing that has a very aggressive plan that utilizes many tutors, but it can also bake into a mid-range plan that is very situated well in the meta against the TNTs, blue farms, glarbs, things that are grinding games. So looking at our list, I am currently on a creature package of 14 creatures, and I'm going to run through why I have each of these creatures in the deck. So Archmage Emeritus, quite possibly one of the best draw outlets in the deck, especially when you get Krark in play. You're going to be drawing a lot of cards for all the spells you cast, and it synergizes very well with your free spells that if you fail the flip, you can essentially draw cards until you win your flip and the card is no longer available to cast. Burgi acts as a way to produce mana on your storm turns, but mainly it's in here for its flip side of Horn of Harnfell, which is another very strong win con in the deck. Fairy Mastermind allows us to grind the mid game a little bit better against those decks I mentioned before. Harmonic Prodigy is the only effect enhancer that I'm running in the deck. I really don't like running doublers in this deck. And I say doublers because in reality, it doesn't actually double the effect. It's just giving you an additional flip. And when you're in the Grixis plan, it's almost more beneficial just to take the 50-50 because when you're trying to resolve a Tainted Pact or a Demonic Consultation, you don't want it bouncing back to your hand. You want 2 copies on the stack. And Harmonic Prodigy actually increases the odds that you're going to bounce Tainted Pact back to your hand and not get 2 copies. That being said, the card is still extremely good and is the only one I run in the deck. Imperial Recruiter is going to go and get us any creature in our deck. Every creature in this deck has 2 power or less. So it is just a very good tutor that gets around Krark. It's also a body that is sackable to some of the other effects in our deck. Orcish Bowmasters, very good removal. Phantasmal Image is my choice over Mockingbird, just because it allows me to copy Archmage Emeritus and Stormkiln Artist for a cheaper mana value. Phyrexian Metamorph, obviously, same thing. Copies are good creatures, copies opponents good creatures, copies of One Ring. Ragavan, very good ramp. That's it. Really good at ramp. Not very good drawing into it later in the game, but its upside at the beginning of the game is very good. Spellseeker, similar, another tutor that gets around Krark. It's going to be able to go grab us protection, a win, a ritual, whatever we need at that instant. Stormkiln Artist and Tavern Scoundrel fill the same purpose. They're going to be our mana treasure generators as we are trying to storm off or win the game. Thassa's Oracle, everyone hates it. It's the best win con in the deck. Yuzri. Yuzri is my flex include because it has synergy with Tavern Scoundrel. You're almost always going to name 5. So whenever you attack with Yuzri, you get a trigger to name a number 1 through 5. You flip that many coins, and for each 1 flip, you're going to draw a card. For each lost flip, you're going to take 2 damage. So when you have Tavern Scoundrel in play, you name Yuzri on 5. If you win 3 of those flips, you're going to make 6 treasures, draw 3 cards, take 4 damage. So extremely powerful draw effect in the deck. Now we are on our Sorcery package. So Demonic Tutor, Diabolic Intent are some of our best tutors that we can resolve with Krark in play, as they're going to be the most effective and put the cards directly into hand with no risk. Sure, you can fail the Diabolic Intent cast and you had to sack a creature, but we are running 14 creatures, especially with Bowmasters 2, you can sack his Orc Army, so this really isn't that big of an issue for the upside it is providing us. When you resolve a demonic tutor, you can get any 2 cards that you really need in that moment. If you already have a win con in hand, you're just going to go grab 2 of your free counter spells. If you need a win con but don't have protection, you'll go grab a win con plus counter spell. If you already have the protection in hand, you're just going to go get 2 win cons. Gamble, same thing, just a little bit more risk because you could pitch the card you want. Git Probe is another amazing card in this deck. It's going to feed Storm Count. It's going to draw essentially 2 cards for free. It's going to be a spell that with Tavern in play is a ritual effect that you don't have to input any mana. Same thing with Stormkiln Artist. You're going to see 2 players' hands, which hand knowledge wins games. If you know what everyone has in their hands, you're going to probably win the game because you're going to be able to point fingers at everyone and say, hey, don't hit me. That guy has a win con. That guy has 2 counter spells. Just focus on that. I'll talk more about hand knowledge later because I do run another hand knowledge card or 2. Imperial Seal, great early game thing. Doesn't actually do anything if Krark doubles it unless you have a way to instant speed draw a card. But there are niche scenarios where you will get 2 tutors off of Imp Seal with Krark. Jessica's Will is go big or go home. This card will win you games or it will lose you games, but that's kind of the dichotomy of Krark. If you resolve a Jessica's Will with Krark in play, you're probably winning the game. If you fail it, you've just wasted 3 mana on your turn at sorcery speed, and you're probably regretting your life at that point. Same thing as Praetor's Grasp. It's too good of an effect to cut, but it still feels bad if you fail the flip. But if you win the flip, it's the same thing as a Demonic Tutor. You go grab any 2 cards out of anyone's deck, and you just get to win the game. Reanimate, our only recursion effect outside of Underworld Breach. There are a bunch of Reanimate lines that Entomb opens up, and we'll talk about Entomb a little bit later. Very good card. Also serves as a pseudo win con if you have Tainted Pact plus Reanimate. I'll dive into a lot of the more specific lines in my primer after this. So, and then Rite of Flame. Rite of Flame is a very good ritual effect. Allows us to cast Stormkiln Artist Tavern, Imperial Recruiter way earlier if we get an early Krark into a doubled effect onto Stormkiln. Next is the instant package. So I run a lot of interaction. I am a player that loves to just play land pass, sit back, relax. I do not like people looking at me. There's a lot of fear when Krark is at a table. Everyone will look at Krark, they'll say, oh, that's scary. He's going to win the game. He's going to storm off. And it's turn 3. I have a Krark and 2 mana. Like, I promise you, I'm not going to storm off. But I understand that is your perception of me. So I need to have a lot of fucking interaction. Otherwise, I will not be able to win a game ever. So an offer into Chain of Vapor, Deadly Rollick, D-Swat, Fierce Guardianship, Flare of Duplication, Fluster Storm, Force of Will, Gut Shot, Floodmaw, Lightning Bolt, Mental Misstep, Mindbreak Trap, Mog Salvage, Pact, Pyro, and Red Blast, Sink into Stupor, Snap, Submerge, Swan Song. That is my cut and dry interaction package. I have not changed that for over 4 or 5 months now, and it's felt very good. Especially free. Anything free in Krark is extremely good. Deflecting Swat forces your opponents to have 2 counter spells if they're trying to deal with it on the stack. Same as Fierce. Flare of Duplication is a infinite mana combo with any of your Archmage Emeritus Stormkiln Artist. If you have your Mage Crafters in play and you cast Flare and win the flip, you can have the other Flare, the copy Flare, target the original, and now you have infinite copies. You draw your deck, you make infinite treasures. The free spells in general also just go crazy with Magecraft. If you have Harmonic Prodigy in play, you could win a flip, lose a flip, counter someone's spell, and then have Fierce return to your hand anyways. Fluster Storm, same thing. Storm Count. Anything with Storm is going to allow you to just go crazy with Magecraft. This is probably one of the best spells in the game to have in your hand at any point. Force of Will is very clunky. I don't like pitching cards when I have Krark in hand or Krark in play, because if I fail the flip, then I just exiled a card from my hand and did nothing. So I really only have this for early game when I don't have Krark in play. Another one is Gutshot. Gutshot is another free Phyrexian spell. It serves a similar purpose as Gitaxian Probe in a lot of ways. Then Bolt, similar, just killing useful creatures. Mog Salvage is a free spell that can get rid of some artifacts. I have won games by removing people's artifacts, such as their stack pieces, but Mog Salvage is really just in here for a free spell. What else? Peak. I love this card. Peak is my favorite pet card in the deck, and there's a running joke that if you resolve Peak, you win the game, and I hate that it's very true, but most games, if I resolve a Peak, I will probably win that game, just because hand knowledge, like I said, wins games. Then we got Sink into Super as our flex land spot. Snap serves many purposes. It works as a combo piece, it works as removal, it's a ritual effect for Krark. If you have Harmonic Prodigy in play, it's essentially as much mana as you need until there are no creatures on the board. Surgical Extraction is another free spell. This is a tech that we've been testing a while in the Krark Discord. So it allows you to search and exile something out of a player's graveyard and then search their library and hand, so you get hand knowledge. It serves as a interruption piece against Underworld Breach, and a free spell to further our Storm plan. Then we have Tainted Pact and Demonic Consultation, serving the 1-card win con with Krark in play. These are our bread and butter. If we have these in hand and protection pieces, we're just slamming these on our turn and hoping for the best. Tainted Pact is obviously better because there isn't a risk of Thassa's being in the top 6 and us losing the game. I have lost games by casting Demonic Consult, and Thassa's is just in the top 6, but I've won way more games just by doubling this up. So it is still a very, very, very strong win con. Then we have our Vamp Tutor, same thing as Imperial Seal. Sometimes we get benefits from doubling and drawing a card in between, but realistically it's just going to be used for the early game. And then we have Entomb. Entomb is extremely good. If we have Entomb, Reanimate plus Krark in play, we can go get Stormkiln, Archmage right into play. We can go get Tavern Scoundrel or Yuzri, really whatever we need at that point. But doubling it up is amazing. Now let's move on over to our artifacts. So I have a very small artifact package. I don't run a lot of ramp. This deck is fine. We have many ways to produce mana with rituals, so artifacts are pretty limited. Those rituals being Cabal Writ and Dark Writ, Culling the Weak, Rite of Flame. So I'm really just on the two CMC rocks, Arcane Signet Felwar, our free rocks, Mox, the Moxes, Lotus Petal, LED, Mana Vault, Grim Monolith to help get out the One Ring or Archmage or Stormkiln, and then Soul Ring. Then we have Wishclaw Talisman as our last rock, and that's just because it's a very good tutor. Allows us to get around Krark too. Only running 3 enchantments. Everyone knows why these are good. And then my land base consists of 27 lands, running 2 Surveil lands. I might cut them. So far they've been okay. Sometimes they come in tapped and it feels awful. So I am borderline still testing those, but I have 27 lands. I will never go below 27 lands. That is the bread and butter. I have a extremely extensive primer that explains all of the combos that I run in the deck. Everything that I've included. My changelog needs to be updated, but it shows everything that I've changed in the past year or so. So rather than dive into that, if anyone is interested, they can read my primer and reach out with any questions. But yeah, sorry for the delay. This is my Krark Silas deck tech, and hopefully you guys like the deck. Thanks.